Welcome to the Smart Weight Loss Coaching Podcast. I'm Dr. Lisa Olson, a board-certified weight loss medicine specialist and certified life coach. In this podcast, I'll share fresh insights and effective techniques for incorporating mindset, habit change, and proven science into your life. Are you ready to achieve sustainable weight loss, wellness, and longevity? Then let's jump in and lose weight the smart way. Welcome back. I'd like to tell you about a patient of mine. Let's call her Maya. She's 53 years old, and she's been carrying excess weight for most of her adult life. She's actually about 45 pounds overweight right now, and while the weight came on gradually over time, it jumped up a bit right around menopause. She came to me a few months ago genuinely ready to try medication. She'd already done a lot of work to create healthy habits. She'd cleaned up her eating. She was walking regularly, and she was sleeping better. But the scale just wasn't moving the way she had hoped, and she was frustrated in that quiet, I've been here before kind of way that I recognized immediately. Maya's what I'd consider the ideal candidate for a weight loss medication. Her BMI qualifies her because it's well over the cutoff of 30. She has borderline high blood pressure, one of those weight-related conditions that tips her solidly into the category where weight medication is not just reasonable, it's evidence-based and appropriate. But here's the thing about Maya, two things actually. Number one, she does not want to take a shot. She really does not want a shot. She told me very matter-of-factly the first time we met, Dr. Olson, I will do almost anything, but I am not injecting myself. And I completely respect that. For a lot of people, self-injection is a genuine barrier. Not a personality quirk, not a lack of commitment, just a real and completely valid preference. Number two, she doesn't have insurance coverage for weight loss medications, which, as many of you know, is still true for a lot of people. So cost really matters. When I first saw Maya, I told her to stay tuned because something was coming that I thought might be exactly right for her. And friends, that something has arrived. On April 1st, 2026, and I promise you this is not an April Fool's joke, the FDA approved Foundayo. That's spelled Foundayo. And the pronunciation, straight from Eli Lilly, is Foundayo. The scientific name is Orforglipron, which longtime listeners will recognize from episode 118, where I first told you about this drug when it was still awaiting approval. If you haven't heard that episode, it might be worth a listen after this one because it gives you some helpful background intel. But today we're doing the full update. What's changed, what we know now for certain, and what this means for people like Maya. Let's get into it. What exactly is Foundayo? Foundayo is a once-daily pill, a tablet. You swallow it. No needles, no auto-injectors, no refrigeration, no sharps container on your bathroom counter, just a pill. It's a GLP-1 receptor agonist, which means it works by mimicking a natural gut hormone called GLP-1 that helps regulate appetite, slows digestion, and signals your brain that you've had enough to eat. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know all about GLP-1s. It's the same mechanism behind Wegovy and Zepbound, the big injectable medications that have transformed weight loss medicine over the past few years. But here's what makes Foundayo chemically different from those medications and why it can be taken as a pill. Injectable Wegovy and Zepbound are peptides. They're structurally similar to the natural hormone, which means your stomach would break them down before they could be absorbed. That's why they have to be injected. Foundayo is what's called a small molecule GLP-1 receptor agonist. It's not a peptide. It's a completely different type of compound that activates the same receptors but can survive the digestive process and be absorbed through the gut. That's the science behind the pill. Back in episode 118, I mentioned that Orforglipron was still awaiting FDA approval and that the clinical trial results showed about a 12.4% body weight loss at the highest dose. which had actually disappointed some investors who were comparing it to Zepbound's roughly 20+% weight loss. I said back then what I'll say again now. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. A pill that produces 12% weight loss without an injection, that's more affordable, that doesn't have food or water restrictions like the Wegovy pill, is an absolutely meaningful option. Not every tool in the toolbox needs to be the most powerful one. Sometimes the right tool is the one a person will actually use. And the FDA agrees because Foundayo is now officially approved. So let's look at what the clinical trials showed. The approval was based on 2 large randomized placebo-controlled phase 3 trials called the ATTAIN program, which together enrolled more than 4,500 people with either the chronic progressive disease of obesity or overweight with at least one weight-related health condition, like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and so on. Participants took the medication for 72 weeks, so a year and 20 weeks, alongside a reduced calorie diet and increased physical activity. At the highest dose, people who stayed on treatment through the 72 weeks lost an average of about 27 pounds, which was 12.4% of their body weight. When you include everyone who started the study, regardless of whether they completed it, the average weight loss was still about 25 pounds. The medication also improved cardiometabolic risk factors across the board. Waist circumference, which you can think of as belt size, came down, cholesterol improved, triglycerides dropped, and blood pressure improved. These are the numbers that actually determine long-term health outcomes. So we're not just talking about the scale, we're talking about real reductions in serious health risks. Now, I know some of you are going to ask, how does it compare to the other weight loss options? Let me give you an honest picture. The injectable GLP-1 medications generally produce more weight loss than the pills. That's simply a fact. Zepbound averages around 20% body weight loss, sometimes quite a bit more, and injectable Wegovy averages around 15 to 18%. The Wegovy pill, also called semaglutide, which was approved back in December 2025 and which I covered in episode 138, showed about a 13 to 17% weight loss in its trials. Foundayo comes in at around 12.4% at the highest dose, so it's less potent than the other GLP-1 drugs we've talked about previously. But, and this is important, these are all different drugs studied in different trials over different periods of time in different populations. We don't have head-to-head comparisons. You cannot take those percentages and line them up like they're scores on the same test. What we can say is that all of these medications produce clinically meaningful weight loss. And for someone like Maya, who doesn't want to do the injections, the comparison to Zepbound is a little beside the point. The relevant question is, which pill will work better for her? With that in mind, let's look at Foundayo versus the Wegovy pill to better understand the difference. Since we now have 2 oral GLP-1 options, I know you want to understand how they compare. The Wegovy pill contains semaglutide, the same active ingredient as injectable Wegovy. It showed slightly higher weight loss in its trials, but it comes with a significant dosing restriction. It must be taken first thing in the morning on an empty stomach with no more than 4 ounces of plain water. And you have to wait at least 30 minutes before eating, drinking anything else, or taking other medications. I talked about this in episodes 138 and 151. It's a specific routine that requires real planning, especially if you're also taking a thyroid medication in the morning, which many of my clients are. Foundayo, you can take that any time of day with or without food. That's it. No restrictions. Wake up, take your pill whenever it works for you, eat breakfast immediately if you want to. That flexibility is genuinely helpful in real life. Novo Nordisk's own clinical quote about their Wegovy pill is that it requires a consistent morning routine. For some people, that's completely manageable, but for others, it's a deal breaker. Having a second pill option without those restrictions gives you more choices. Let me review the instructions on how to take Foundayo, the practical stuff, because of course you want to get this right. The most important thing is to take Foundayo exactly as your doctor prescribes. They'll probably recommend once a day by mouth, with or without food, your choice, any time of day. Swallow the tablet whole. Don't break it, crush it, or chew it. It needs to be intact. If you miss a dose, take it as soon as you remember, but don't take 2 doses in the same day. 1 tablet per day, no exceptions, unless, of course, your doctor tells you otherwise. And here's an important one I want to flag. If you miss 7 or more days in a row, don't just restart on your own. Call your doctor first. Depending on how long you've been off and what dose you were taking, you may need to retitrate, meaning you'll start back at a lower dose and work your way up gradually. Your doctor will guide you through that. One more practical note, which is for anyone on hormonal birth control pills, Foundayo may reduce the effectiveness of oral contraceptives. Talk to your doctor about this before starting and plan to use an additional form of birth control for 30 days after starting Foundayo and for 30 days after each dose increase. Let's review side effects, the full honest picture here. You know I always give you the real information because you deserve to know what you're putting into your body and what kind of side effects to expect. The most common side effects of Foundayo are the same ones we see across all GLP-1 medications: nausea, constipation, diarrhea, vomiting, indigestion, stomach discomfort or pain, headache, fatigue, bloating, heartburn, gas, and potentially hair loss. These tend to be the most prominent when you first start the medication or after a dose increase, and they typically improve as your body adjusts. For some people, they resolve completely, but for others, they're persistent enough that we need to reduce the dose or try a different medication. In the clinical trials of Foundayo, the discontinuation rate at the highest dose due to side effects was about 10%, which is actually a bit lower than what we saw with Wegovy and Zepbound at their highest doses. So that's promising. There is a black box warning, which is the FDA's most serious type of warning for thyroid C cell tumors. This warning appears on all GLP-1 medications and is based only on animal studies. In practical terms, it means Foundayo should not be used in anyone with a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer or a condition called MEN2. If you notice any lump or swelling in your neck, hoarseness, difficulty swallowing, or shortness of breath, contact your doctor right away. Before we talk about who qualifies for Foundayo, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. Just kidding. It's still me, Dr. Lisa Olson, physician and founder of Smart Weight Loss Coaching. If you're as focused on your health as you are on the scale, you're my person. In my online program, we'll show you how to transform the way you approach weight loss so it takes up less brain space and frees up your time for the things you love to do. If you'd like to learn more about our women's or our men's program for weight loss, better health, and longevity, head over to smartweightlosscoaching.com. Join us to see how different a smart weight loss program can be. And we're back. Let's talk about who qualifies for Foundayo. It's approved for adults with a BMI of 30 or higher. It's also approved for adults with a BMI of 27 or higher if they have at least one weight-related health condition, such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, obstructive sleep apnea, and so on. If you're not sure about your BMI, it's easy to find it online by typing in your height and weight and asking AI or Google to calculate your BMI for you. A BMI over 30 is exactly where Maya lands, by the way. Borderline high blood pressure plus a qualifying BMI. She checks both boxes. Before we go on to talk about the cost of Foundayo, please note that it is not approved for use in children at this time. If any of you are parents of teens with serious weight concerns, keep this in mind. If a teenager needs weight loss medication, that's a conversation to have with their pediatrician or a pediatric obesity specialist, as there are some other medications with pediatric approvals, like Wegovy, which has FDA approval down to age 12. Okay, let's talk about the practical part of this that Maya's concerned about, and I'm sure the part that a lot of you care about too, which is affordability. These medications are quite expensive, and not everyone will be able to afford them, especially if they don't have insurance coverage. When Wegovy, the first GLP-1 medication, came out, the cost was as high as $1,500 per month. While the cost of Wegovy and Zepbound has steadily declined, and manufacturers' coupons can cut that number down substantially, cost is still a consideration. Here's where things stand with Foundayo as of April 2026, but please do your own current research before filling any prescription because pricing in this space changes frequently. What I'm sharing today is accurate at the time I'm recording this, but it may have shifted already by the time you're listening. If you have commercial insurance that covers weight loss medications, you may be able to get Foundayo for as little as $25 per month using Eli Lilly's savings card. If you're paying out of pocket, cash pay with no insurance coverage for weight loss, like Maya, the price starts at $149 per month for the lowest dose and goes up to $299 to $349 per month for the higher doses. For Medicare Part D enrollees, Lilly is targeting $50 per month, with that price expected to begin July 1st, 2026. This is fantastic because a lot of people 65 and up would like affordable access to this medication, and they deserve access to appropriate treatment for their weight. Here's my universal advice, and I say this about every single weight loss medication. Go to the manufacturer's website. All of them, Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, all of them have savings cards and coupons directly on their sites. For Foundayo, you'd go to foundayo.lilly.com. Don't assume you know the current price, and definitely don't assume that your pharmacy will figure it out for you. Check it every time, because these programs do change, and you often have to get a coupon before going to the pharmacy to pick up your medication. By the way, this is true for many meds, not just weight loss medications. Be sure to check for coupons, whether you have insurance or not, because this is the state of prescription medication these days. As far as where to get it, Foundayo is available now through Lilly Direct, Eli Lilly's own pharmacy and delivery service, with shipping that starts on April 6th. It's also becoming available at retail pharmacies and throughout telehealth providers very shortly, so access should not be a problem. Back to Maya. When I first told Maya that Foundayo had been approved, she was super excited. We talked through whether this was the right fit for her based on her medical history, her goals, the fact that she doesn't want to inject any medication, and her budget. And the answer for her is yes. This is the medicine she's been waiting for, and she was ready to get started. Maya's going to start at the lowest dose and will increase gradually based on how she tolerates it. We also talked about the fact that medication is only one piece of the puzzle, not the whole thing. Maya's already done such meaningful work on her healthy habits around nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress. The medication is going to help quiet the hormonal changes and food noise that's been making this so hard. She's going to keep building the life she wants inside of that quieter space. This is how medication works best as part of a comprehensive lifestyle modification program, like the one we have at Smart Weight Loss Coaching. I want to take a step back for a moment because I think this approval is significant beyond just one new medication option. Fewer than 1 in 10 people who could benefit from a GLP-1 medication are actually taking one. 1 in 10. The barriers are real. Cost, access, the needle issue, stigma, the belief that using medications somehow means you haven't tried hard enough. I want to push back on that last one more time because it's truly my most important job to help people stop judging themselves for using weight loss medication. Taking meds for excess weight is not cheating. It's not the easy way out. Excess weight is a chronic medical condition driven by genetics, hormones, neurobiology, and our food environment. Treating it with medication is exactly as appropriate as treating high cholesterol with a statin. No one tells a person with high blood pressure that they should just try harder before they take medication. We need to extend that same grace to ourselves and each other when it comes to weight. Okay, it's time for your NBA, your next best action for today. But before that, I just want to remind you that you can be sure I don't take any funding or payment from any of the pharmaceutical companies. My enthusiastic opinions here are based entirely on the research, and my experience and conversations about these medications are purely informational to help you better understand the options that are out there for you. Okay, now it's time for your NBA. Maybe today's next best action is simply making an appointment with your doctor to have a conversation about whether Foundayo or any weight loss medication is appropriate for you. If your doctor isn't comfortable with the latest weight loss medications, it's completely reasonable to ask for a referral to someone who's board certified in obesity medicine. And of course, you don't have to have the disease of obesity to talk with a weight loss specialist. People with overweight or binge eating disorder can also benefit from science-backed expert guidance with weight loss. If you aren't in need of medication for weight loss, maybe your NBA is forwarding this episode to someone you care about who's been waiting for a weight loss pill option. You know who that person is, and it would be a really kind thing to have their back and let them know that they do have options, including 2 new weight loss pills in 2026. Until next week, take good care of yourself because your health is absolutely worth the effort. Thanks so much for listening. If you'd like more support during your smart weight loss journey, check out our group coaching program at smartweightlosscoaching.com. Until next time, stay well and stay smart.